Today we're taking a look at the MONSGA MR7 Pro, a robot vacuum cleaner that fits within the budget price point and yet also has a number of exciting features, including a vac and mop combo, a LiDAR mapping system, and also 90 days of self-emptying. Hi, I'm Simon from Simon's Reviews, and I'm pleased to bring this model to you because it does solve a number of pain points. So often with robot vacuum cleaners within this budget price range, there is always the concern of maybe damaging hardwood floors with leaky mops, along with some other issues, but the MR7 Pro actually solves these. First off, it includes this protective base plate. This is such an obvious and sensible addition that I'm surprised other robot vacuums don't tend to include this, but this is going to make a great change from those because it will protect your hardwood floors. And not only that, but it will also help to guide the robot vacuum back to the base station for charging. And effectively the way that base protection plate will work is it will prevent moisture from coming out of the robot vacuum cleaner, especially obviously that mop section, and seeping into your floor when the vacuum cleaner is not in use. But also impressive for a more budget model is the fact that this has been rated for 8,000 PA of suction. This is actually mightily impressive, and it's going to do a phenomenal job at just generally vacuum cleaning your home, and you have full control over that 8,000 PA, so you can choose just how much suction is going to be used. It does have full app compatibility as well, which I'll talk about a little bit later. If you have pets, that's going to be a lot of suction for pet hair, and the roller itself does have anti-tangle built into it, thanks to the fact that it is made of rubber and there is a side brush as well. Overall, the suction of the vacuum cleaner has really impressed me, to be honest, and we mostly have hard floors, but we do also have rugs as well, and some of those rugs are quite thick, but it handles all of those floor types without issue. And in terms of its capability, just as a robot vacuum, I would definitely put it up there with some of the higher end models. Unboxing and assembly was a really quick process, to be honest with you, and there's nothing really to do with the robot vacuum and taking it out the box. Same with the dock as well, just pop it onto that base protection plate that I showed you, and it does come with an additional dust bag along with the one that's already installed in the dock, along with a remote controller as well. So as I mentioned, you can connect this to the app, which I will show you, but if you just want to use the remote control, then you can absolutely do that. It does have a number of important features built straight into that, so you don't even have to open your phone app if you don't want to. And to be honest, you know, I don't often see remote controllers bundled in with these robot vacuum cleaners, so that does definitely set this one apart from the competition. And so the dock combined with the dust bag do provide up to 4 litres of collection, which is up to 90 days worth of self-emptying, so you can set this thing up and just leave it to do its thing. It is really a hands-off robot, and that's one of the things I love about it, because at the end of the day, robot vacuums, they are all about convenience, and the more of these features that we have built in, then the more attractive it is as a robot product. One thing I do want to point out is that the self-emptying feature is a little noisier than I've seen before with other self-emptying robot vacuum cleaners. However, they tend to come in at a much higher price point. It's not a problem. It's obviously only going to be about 10 seconds or so that sound happens. But yeah, probably not something you want happening at night time, so just bear that in mind. The LiDAR mapping system is a really neat feature, especially again at this price point. It's just not something you would normally expect to see. So there is a bumper on the front of the robot, but you won't see it using it all that much because of the mapping system. It is going to be detecting obstacles of a certain size and just avoiding them completely without actually using the constant bumper. Now, smaller objects, including cables, you are going to have to still move out of the way. It's not going to detect those. I wouldn't expect that to be the case anyway, but it is just worth mentioning that. But larger items, walls and furniture, it is absolutely going to handle. It also has an inbuilt memory for up to 5 maps as well. So if you have multiple stories or just multiple areas you need setting up as different maps, then you can absolutely store all of those in the robot vacuum, and it is going to remember them once you move it into those different map positions. Now, one important pain point that you do have to pay attention to when it comes to choosing a robot vacuum is battery life, because obviously these things are running off battery when they're out and about, and they will need to recharge in their dock. Well, thankfully the MR7 Pro has no issues here, up to a 160-minute runtime off a full charge. Now, I'm going to say that is on the lower suction settings, but still that's a good chunk of battery time you get off a single run. Obviously that is going to decrease if you have a higher power selected. However, even when the battery does run low, it is automatically going to make its way back to the charging station, head into the dock and recharge, and then automatically resume from where it left off in order to continue the clean. This really is a just set it up once then leave it to do its thing device. It is just going to take care of all the hard work for you, and you can just stay completely stress free. At least in terms of your floor cleaning, you won't have to worry about it as you otherwise would. So these inbuilt technologies are absolutely brilliant, and again, just something I don't expect to see at this particular price point. However, there are some compromises that have been made just to be aware of. These aren't things that are going to make it or break it, I wouldn't think, for most people, but they are just things that are worth paying attention to. So that LiDAR system is brilliant, but it is laser based, not AI based, which we've seen in some really more premium models of robot vacuum cleaners. So yeah, as I mentioned, it's going to detect bigger obstacles just fine, but things like cables and socks and even headphones, if they're lying on the floor, will have to be moved out of the way manually, as it is probably not going to see those. But unless you want to spend £800 or £900 plus on a robot vacuum cleaner, then I definitely think that is a small price to pay. So let's talk about the mopping, because as I said, this model is a vac mop combo. Now the mop on this I find really useful. You can see I've got some footage here showing the mop in action, and the best way to use this in my opinion is just to spray some floor cleaner directly onto the floor, then fill up the water reservoir, pop that back in, make sure that your mop pad is on. Oh, and by the way, there's no settings you need to change here. The robot will automatically switch into vac mop mode once it detects that the reservoir has water in it and the mop itself is attached. So you just need to do that, turn it on, and it's going to start mopping immediately. And yeah, it's going to do a great job here. What I will say is that it is really for kind of like a daily use mop, I suppose. If you have any stubborn stains or anything that's going to require a good bit of elbow grease, then yeah, this isn't going to clean those up for you. But just for a general refreshness of the floor, then it's absolutely going to fill that need. So yeah, it's not going to scrub away that dried on spaghetti sauce that the kids spilled, but it is going to do a nice refresh of the floor, and that 460ml water tank is just going to get the job done. In fact, I can mop the entirety of our hardwood floors on our downstairs of our home with this mop vacuum, and there's still plenty of water left in the reservoir when it's finished. In terms of the smart features, this basically has you covered. So straight away there is Google and Alexa compatibility, so you can just use your voice assistant in order to go ahead and get this started, get it stopped, whatever you need. And while it doesn't have its own dedicated app, it is fully compatible with other apps such as Tuya or Smart Life. I've got this set up with Smart Life, and it has all the features that you would need. So of course that includes like mapping. It can map out the floor, along with the fact that you can set your schedules, your no-go zones, and also you can set up the speed of the vacuum, the intensity of the vacuum, and of the mopping. So everything is there within the app, but one thing worth mentioning is that you will need to connect using a 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi network rather than a 5 gigahertz. So that's pretty typical for a smart device. Most of them do require 2.4 gigahertz anyway. So ultimately, who is the MR7 Pro going to be best suited for? Well, I think anybody really that just wants to have an easy life, and who doesn't want an easy life? So for pet owners, just having that convenience there in having the vacuum just take care of all of that hair for you. Anybody that has a multi-story home and is going to take advantage of that 5 map memory, along with anybody that has hardwood floors and really wants to just keep them fresh with the mop feature, that is going to be a great thing for you as well. Ultimately, again, for the budget price point, there is a lot on offer here, and I have really been impressed with this model. Is it absolutely perfect? No, of course not. There have been some compromises here, including the fact that the self-emptying is quite a bit noisier than other self-emptying models. The LiDAR system is laser, not AI, so it's not going to be perfect when it comes to smaller obstacles. But if you can live with those minor issues, then I think you can effectively save a lot of money by choosing this particular model. It does have great suction, and it does have have a great set of features within the app as well, and just super convenient with that 90-day self-emptying. So folks, this is the MR7 Pro robot vacuum cleaner. I think it's a great choice, but do let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you for checking out the video. Hopefully it's been helpful to you, and I'll see you in the next one.